Attention on deck.
Your instructor is a Top Gun graduate with real-world experience in every mission aspect you will be expected to master. His exploits are legendary, and he's considered to be one of the finest pilots this program has ever produced. What he has to teach you may very well mean the difference between life and death. I give you Captain Pete Mitchell. Call sign, Maverick.
Good morning.
What's cracking, YouTube? Maverick. Brands Fans Football. Let's get this. I'm going to jump into this ESPN clip because they are talking about what should happen if Mikel Arteta does not win the league title this season. It's exactly the kind of discussion that footballers who have never won the league, ex-footballers, now pundits who have never, played at the highest level, because if you want to tell me Craig Burley playing at Celtic in Scotland is football at the highest level, I'm going to tell you that maybe for you, but certainly not for me. And if you want to tell me that Shaka Hislop at West Ham or at Newcastle was ever involved in a title charge, I'm going to tell you that that's a lie. So yeah, I just want to hear what these guys have to say about this. But I also, before I play the clip, I will say this. I do think that, yeah, Mikel Arteta should win the league this year to avoid questions. If he doesn't win the league, maybe he should win the Champions League. He has to win something. I'm not saying that he has to win something to vindicate himself to me, because I think he's been the best thing to happen to Arsenal ever since the Invincibles. But he just has to win something to vindicate that kind of faith and that kind of belief in him, because I do think that he's the guy to take Arsenal. If there's one club who over the last 3 seasons have confirmed that they have the right manager, it is Mikel Arteta at Arsenal. So, but yeah, I think this is his 5th full season that he's going into, or his 6th? It's his 5th full season that he's going into, I think. So yeah, there is an argument that if you don't win a major trophy this season, maybe there should be questions asked, but I'm not sure it should be asked by these guys here, but that's what we have. And yeah, let's see what they think about it. Okay, so the question is actually, so this is their extra time. So it's actually been put to him that, okay, if Arsenal don't win the league next season, should they move on from Arteta? I've changed my mind. Like, the question is really a foolish question. I know fans generally, we are motivated by trophies, right? We're motivated by trophies. That's really the only thing we're interested in. Clubs like Arsenal, yeah, their fans like to go for, the kind of football they play and everything and all of that. So, Barcelona, all those kind of fan bases that, they like aesthetic football. Everybody likes aesthetic football. That's not to hate on it or anything. But in club football today, I think this question is irrelevant. If Arteta does not win the league this season, I can agree questions need to be asked. What's wrong? What's the problem? Why isn't this happening? Do you need a striker? Do you need more squad depth? Those are the kind of questions that I think need to be asked. But a question like, should Arsenal move on from Arteta? I'll say 2 things. 1, even if it's the kind of question a fan will ask, it's really a silly question. It's a silly question for the simple reason that who would you replace him with? Question 2, why would you replace him? This is a coach who has recorded marginal growth season on season, right? This is a coach who came into a club that had one of the most, if not the most toxic fan base in club football. And he was able to seal that fissure. He was able to heal the club fan base. He was able to bring them back together. He was able to unite, those on one side of the fence or the other side of the fence, and he brought them together to be one whole, so that Arsenal, as I've heard said, have finally turned on the lights at the Emirates. I heard a quote that I thought made sense. Arsene Wenger built the Emirates, Mikel Arteta turned on the lights. So when you ask a question that should Arsenal move on from him, it's a foolish question, one. But even more foolish is ESPN's idea of this is a good conversation to have. And it will only exceed its own foolishness by the answers that we are going to get from this not so esteemed panel. But realistically, in club football today, looking around, how many coaches really, really have a clue? How many coaches really, really have a plan for progress, not just for a season, for season on season? How many coaches do you know that will come into club football today and tell you, I have a 5-year plan, I have a 10-year plan? There are not that many. But Mikel Arteta is one of them. Hate on him from whatever section of whatever fan base you're on. Certainly what is not in doubt is his ability. This is a guy who shut down Barcelona before they even started getting serious about looking at him as a replacement for Xavi, because they were interested in replacing Xavi. We know that because they have replaced Xavi. Mikel Arteta shut them down before that even became a conversation. So obviously Barcelona knows something that the rest of us don't know. If they were looking at him and sending out feelers in the press to see if it was something that they could pursue. So I come back to ESPN, who have seen this coming, and obviously, as all these outlets are primed to do, they look for, and it brings me back to what I said just before I started this review when I was talking about the fact that Arsenal Football Club did the heavy lifting for being a punching bag during the rise of social media over the last 20 years. Organizations like ESPN, organizations like Sky Sport, and countless journals in England, the Mirror, the Daily Mail, the Guardian. A lot of these organizations have built their fan bases by taking shots at Arsenal over the last 2 decades. ESPN is no different. But if I'm the editor and I'm sitting in their studio right there and I'm filtering questions that I want my so-called panel to go through, unless I don't know football, I would say this is a foolish. I would prefer the question of what do you think Arsenal needs to do if Arteta doesn't win the league next season? But making him and his position part of the problem, and ESPN thinking that their panelists answering the question is going to make them look intelligent over a question that is already not intelligent. Like I said, that foolishness is only going to be exceeded by the foolishness of the answers.